If you aren't aware of the story, this is something which is quickly developing, and we'll come on to what was head of the news just now with Tim Humphrey. It refers to a film last week of a gentleman, Gideon Falter, from the Campaign Against Antisemitism. And he was complaining to police at the time that he and his colleagues were not allowed to cross a pro-Palestinian march. Now, the policeman he spoke to in this film, and we're going to hear a short clip from the film, explained to Falter, who was wearing a kippah at the time, that he would help him by walking him to another place for him to cross. And he said he'd already seen Falter try to cross, walking, as he described it, deliberately against the march. The police officer, as you will hear, says you are quite openly Jewish. I think he was referring to the fact that Gideon Falter was wearing a kippah. This is a pro-Palestinian march. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm worried about the reaction to your presence. Let's hear that.
You are quite openly Jewish. This is a pro-Palestinian march. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm worried about the reaction to your presence.
This story has developed a lot. Obviously, a number of organisations representing the Jewish population in London are saying that many Jews seem to be frightened. They're saying that they are frightened to come into central London, as every weekend there are pro-Palestinian marches. It's been interesting watching the video, and I would suggest that you watch that online as well before you ring in. Gideon Falter then asked another policeman who had offered to walk him round to another point to cross if this policeman was going to arrest him if he refused to do so. And Falter was making the point in the film that Jews in London are always being told that it's safe, that the pro-Palestinian marches are safe, and yet here he was being told that it wasn't safe for him to be around the march. Now, I could read out all of the apologies and then further apologies from the Met Police, but really I want to read out elements of this newly released Metropolitan Police statement, which you would have heard referred to on the news. It says, "We remain focused on doing everything possible to ensure that Jewish Londoners feel safe in this city. We know recent events and some of our recent actions have contributed to concerns felt by many. It's crucial we listen to those feeling unsafe to go about their daily lives and take immediate action to address their concerns." The Assistant Commissioner, Matt Twist, has written to Gideon Falter to offer a private meeting to both apologise to him personally and to discuss what more the Met can do to make sure that Jewish Londoners feel safe. Now, give me a ring if you think that this is now a time for the Metropolitan Police Commissioner to resign. Suella Braverman is asking for it. James Cleverly, I think, has hinted towards it. Rishi Sunak has said today that he is appalled by the behaviour of the Metropolitan Police. What are your thoughts about this? Do you have any sympathy with what the police are trying to do with these marches and to protect both sides? Are you actually a person who's been involved in the marches? We hear in the press that many Jews themselves have taken part in pro-Palestinian marches. If you are one of those people, please do give me a ring, 0345 6060 973, or text me on 84850. I need to talk, and I want to talk to two people now about this before we go to the cause. First of all, I want to talk to the President of the Board of Deputies of British Jews, who is meeting Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley on Thursday to discuss the force's handling of pro-Palestinian protests. And she is Marie van der Ziel. Welcome, Marie, to LBC. This is obviously something which is causing a lot of concern to Jewish Londoners, and it has escalated over the course of the week since this film was taken. How do you feel about it? What are you hearing from Jewish Londoners about what happened with Gideon Falter?
Thank you. Just to explain, the Board of Deputies is the representative body for the UK community, and we represent a wide variety and diversity of Jews.
Yes.
Look, people have become very, very concerned about these marches. They felt very, very intimidated, as I think a lot of people will. And if somebody obviously looks Jewish, it is very difficult. I understand why people are concerned. And in March, not very long ago, there was this incident where a swastika was paraded, and the police are saying this isn't anti-Semitic. It would depend upon the context. And I was told this myself by a high-level policeman. And I think that if someone parades a swastika at a march like this, it clearly is anti-Semitic, and the police need to give guidance. There's been lots of concern about slogans from the river to the sea, and this was projected in February on the Elizabeth Tower. Now, we know the police have got a very difficult job to do, but there have been a number of errors, complaints, and the Jewish community, right or wrong, feels a huge loss of confidence in the police. And traditionally, the community had always had a very strong relationship with the police, and that confidence has got to be restored. And I'm not calling for Sir Mark Rowley to resign. I want to have a meeting on Thursday where we put the concerns of the community, and I want to know what the police are going to do about it so that we can all move forward together. We know that these marches are very, very difficult, and the police have a difficult job, but quite frankly, their comms is not good. I think a lot of this could be cleared up if there's proper guidance, and they have to listen to the community. That's what we want them to do.
And that sounds all, perfectly reasonable, to be perfectly honest, Marie. So are there any specific things that you will be asking him for? Would you be asking for fewer pro-Palestinian marches to be allowed? Because obviously the police, give them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for all of us, not all of us, not just Jews, but my own synagogue is in central London, for example. And if I wanted to go to synagogue on a Saturday morning with the march, I can't go. It's not just me that's being disrupted. It's also everybody in London. I think there needs to be a sensible discussion about how often these marches take place. Where is the route? Should they be static? Nobody, especially Jews, should feel that they can't go about their normal activities. And Jews need to feel safe, because right now Jews do not feel safe, and that is the unfortunate reality. And that's all part of the reason this has escalated, and the police need to issue clear guidance. For example, swastikas will be regarded as hate crime if you turn up at one of these marches bringing swastikas. Then there was the incident with a couple of women having the hand gliders on their back, which is a very
reference to October the 7th, obviously.
Reference to October the 7th and how those poor people were butchered. And the judge gave a very lenient sentence, saying that the two protesters with these hang gliders on their backs must have felt emotional. I mean, that's outrageous. But it's not all the fault of the police. But I think their comms has a lot to be desired. And I think ordinary policemen need to be given much clearer guidance, and that the people need to have renewed confidence in community policing.
Marie, you were explaining about the Board of Deputies of British Jews,
yes,
which takes under its cape Jews from all over the UK. Now, we hear through media always about the London marches, but obviously there are pro-Palestinian marches which take place in other cities. And I used to live in Leeds for a long time, big Jewish population in Leeds, loved Leeds,
absolutely,
love Leeds. And are you hearing the same from Jews in those cities. Manchester, for instance, obviously has a large Jewish population as well.
Yes, let's go to Leeds, for example. There's all sorts of problems on campus, and that's also a place where
at the university, or are you talking about schools now?
Leeds University, and I've been to see the Chancellor of Leeds University. The rabbi there was subject to awful threats, and he was forced to leave his house and flee because he'd been a reservist in the Israeli army, and he was called upon to do his duty. And there have been all sorts of protests on campus, and it's very, very difficult for young people. So up and down the country, I think it is very challenging to be a Jew right now. People aren't used to seeing hatred in this way. And I think as a community, a minority community, we should be supporting other minority communities. So we all have our faiths and our values, but we all need to learn to live together. But I think it is in very difficult times up and down the country. That includes Manchester and Leeds. Yes.
Marie, thank you so much for that. I know when I lived up in Leeds, Marie, just before we go, there was never any trouble. I lived there throughout the 1980s, and the Jewish population, a massive part of the sort of more recent history of that great city, and a very loved and valued part of the city.
Demography changes. There are probably less Jews now in Leeds, but the incidents regarding what's happened at the University of Leeds are very
I wasn't aware of that.
Well documented.
Yeah.
And it's an open campus. You'll probably remember that. So all sorts of people come onto the campus that aren't students.
I see.
But I want to be a sensible voice. We want to get this right, and I'm sure that we'll have this meeting on Thursday. And I've not called for Sir Mark Rowley to resign, but what I do want is for the Jewish community's confidence in the police to be restored, and with clear guidance and guidelines. That's where we need to go, and to get that message out.
Marie, thank you so much for joining us. Marie is the President of the Board of Deputies of British Jews, who will be meeting Sir Mark Rowley on Thursday to discuss the Met Police's handling of the pro-Palestinian protest.